Once there was a greedy ruler of Cherbourg, France. The name will only be revealed by chance. He is not that my story is the topic, but that who shaped what in which makes my life tick, who calls himself John Just, in whom the common folk had most trust. For just like me, he steals from the rich and gives to those like thee. On his way to Paris he found a poor man named Ferris. Ferris, whom hated his duke, bestowed upon John a truth so foul that wanted to make him puke. The Duke of Cherbourg had a vault so full, it held an amount of gold that weighed the amount of 70,000 bulls. Not even a single gold piece to thee? John asked him. Not one between my king and me. For the response from Ferris. Something must be done, screamed John, knowing he would postpone his trip to Paris. John had an idea only someone fiendish as he could accomplish. That night he snuck up to the Duke's vault, only with a bag and a plan with no fault. He was, as you'd probably expect, to steal the money, as for evidence, not the speck. As for the guards, he was the master of tricks. He let their defenses down and supplied each with a few swift kicks. Both passed out, still alive. John reached down and took the keys. Compared to him, the guards were about as smart as a pair of monkeys. Both the keys and the lock were solid silver, while the people still had not a sliver. The door was 3 men tall. John kept telling himself this man must fall. The doors were not easily pried, no matter how hard John tried. The doors would not budge. But John was reminded of his new grudge. When the guards got awoke, completely unprovoked, they helped him open the door. The people we swear to protect are too poor, one guard explained. We must help. John appreciated their efforts, but thought they are still whelps. Once the vault was clear, the cargo was loaded on a carriage and took to the place that was nowhere near. The next morning the gold was taken to town square, where John made his appearance aware. He opened the sacks and started to throw the gold as if it were sand. The clamor of the ecstatic townfolk brought the town guards, and a riot was to evoke. "Keep them out," screamed John. "They will steal the money that you all are so fond." The townspeople condensed in the space, slowing but not stopping the guards' pace. As the guards approached, John's throwing hastened. "You are under arrest," the guard's shout dampened. John noticed the guards had not, and he had to think quick. He reached into his pocket and found a lockpick. No, this will not do, John thought, and he realized what he forgot. The keys are in his back pocket. He reached down and thought this might just do it. He slashed a deep gash in each bag, which he hurled as if a bag of trash. Right over the guards one flew, and like moths to a flame the crowd around the guards grew. Within the commotion John slithered away. Further into the market John fled, hiding behind a jar made of clay. More the guards had arrived. At the time John realized that this was not the worst situation he would have survived. The guards had surrounded the market, no escape. The first idea, fight. No, that will not do. I will only manage a scrape. As the natural partner to fight, his next idea was flight. He thought, no, they have me pinned. He then concentrated and realized that he had no way to defend, so he stood up from where he was hiding and made his presence known with his hands raising. John had surrendered, knowing this was the only way he would not get the law's full incomplete wrath. The guards spotted him and shouted, "To the dungeon is your only path." John made no attempts at resisting. He just submitted, knowing the guards would keep persisting. As they escorted him away, the crowds still had the streets in a shroud. Once they made it to the prison, John knew that he would rot in this dungeon. He had plans in Paris. He was to create the king a gift that he would always cherish. "Your trial's in 3 days," the keeper told John. "This is the end," John thought as he let out a yawn. Justice has been served. I did my job. As he thought about his past, his head began to throb. All those cheerful faces. I wonder if that man Ferris was in the coin races. The next morning John had a visitor. Ferris had shown up and told him that the money saved his sister. Ferris explained that he needed the money so he could bail his sister out because she accidentally killed a bunny. After Ferris had left, John thought, another life I have saved. This was all worth it, though, even if I've been punished for how I behaved. Then, as the third day arrived, the feeling of joy was for what John was deprived. Your time, scum, explained the keeper. As he gets dragged, he does not become a weeper. He stays strong and never gets a sign of defeat. No matter how accomplished they felt, they had not beat. Tossed into a carriage and paraded around town, but to him the people did not look down. For when they saw John, they found hope, the hope that could stop the saddest of people to stop their mope. The crowds thickened, the cart quickened. The people were rallying in support. The cart pulled up to the court. There were guards blocking the path, but the people were able to break through because of their wrath. Though with an uproar was in the courthouse flooded, the hearing was rather uninterrupted. As the sentence went, though good deeds were meant, treason has been made, the judge explained. No longer shall John be chained, but to the headsman's axe with him. The crowd went silent with the news of the grin. With no more pause, he goes now. John thought, to be slaughtered like a sow. Then simply said, "'Tis a shame." He was drained. No longer did he have his inspirational flame. Now he was looked more like a commoner than a savior. He, just like anyone else, was to be punished for his misbehavior. John is more than willing to go with the guards. He was to die. No more playable cards. He is doubled over onto the chopping block. The Duke oversees the execution and admired John the gawk. How is someone as typical as you get into my vaults with no extra crew? The Duke questioned the thief. The people needed me, Johns replied in brief. With the crowd, who had been silenced, erupted into a riot with the most violence. The executioner lifted his axe. The crowd were screaming in singularity, opposed to the normal packs. The axe comes down. Silence floods the crowd. The husband had intentionally missed. John was proud. Why have you stopped, executioner? The Duke questions. This man has taught me many lessons. To help others of equal is more valuable than anything that can be taxable. Then he realized John, who had thanked the masked man. I will always do what I can, my liege. The executioner kneeled before John. The next morning the old Duke was gone, and the Honorable John Just was the new Duke, and the power he did discuss. He left the business up to the people, and the money to those who were not the business people. He valued the size of spirit over the size of the pocket.